What up, guys? The MMA blueprint is back. Dom Rogan here. Greg Blackson here. You know what I mean? ESPN, MMA junkie, MMA mania, MMA fighting, middle easy, bloody elbow. I don't know what's going on. Somebody hired me for my shit. I've called every upset. No guessing here, people. Peer analysis. Any fighter, Goon Squad MMA at Goon Squad MMA on Instagram. Come join. Stop being with an MMA coach, okay? Come join. Get the real mind and insight on this shit. I'm not calling these fights on anybody. Yes, I hit a parlay. Yes, I caught Sean Strickland. As far as I've seen, Luke Thomas, Ariel Helwani, Joe Rogan, Daniel Cormier, everybody else that's supposed to be the experts, everybody's calling it the upset of the year. To me, I'm saying how. Everybody, all my students that were like, oh, I wanted the Duplessis fight. I said Strickland's the tougher fight, guys. Strickland is. Duplessis, I liked it for the drama. Duplessis, I didn't see Israel having trouble with his stand-up. The wrestling would have been the problem. But I was like, he'll probably get through that one. I like the drama behind it and the scare of the wrestling and the strength of the guy. But I saw a lot of ways for Izzy to win that fight. When they got switched to Sean Strickland, I said, he losing this. Greg Blackson, Dom Rogan, break it down for me. Let me break it down. Why I picked him to win. And yes, I am showing my parlay because I know how haters are. They're going to say, Greg Blackson didn't call it. All my students know I called it. But I'm going to show it for the haters. Anyhow, let me go all the way back to how my mind started on this. It goes back to Anderson Silva. So everybody is saying Israel Adesanya is the greatest middleweight of all time. I've never agreed. It is Anderson Silva, and I haven't seen anybody come close to that yet. So when I was thinking about Sean Strickland, I actually was thinking about Anderson Silva, which made me think about Israel Adesanya and how Sean Strickland was a bad matchup for him. How, Dom Rogan? Let me tell you how. Anderson Silva did amazing shit where you're like, wow. I have never seen any amazing shit that made me go, wow. No pummeling somebody in a clinch the way he did to fucking Rich Franklin. No killer instinct ultra combo like he did to Chris Lieben. No matrix shit like he did to Forrest Griffin. No brutal fucking shit like he did to Stephen Bonner. I'm just no Bruce Lee, Black Bruce Lee like he did to Vitor Belfort. No, I'm so comfortable I could fuck around shit he did to Damian Maia and Thales Letis. I have never seen these kind of performances from Israel Adesanya. Do I like Israel? As a fighter, do I respect him? Yeah, of course I respect my fellow Nigerian. But I call shit the way I see it, and I never have seen it. I seen a rough fight with Kelvin Gastelum. Let me start there, coming from a boxing background. That told me all I needed to know. When all these fighters that are tall, fight tall. When you're supposed to fight long and none of their coaches are teaching them how. Come fuck with me, I will. But being from a boxing background, Virgil Hunter taught me that. Roger Mayweather taught me that. Jeff Mayweather taught me that. James Lysell Tony brother-in-law taught me that. I've already known that. And I always happen to use my length very fucking real, my reach. When Kelvin Gastelum was hitting that guy as much as he was, I was like, he's good at some things, but it's a lot of concepts of boxing that he is missing. That's number one. When you look at Anderson Silva, you couldn't ever trap him to the cage. And if he ever went to the cage, he went there on purpose. And he would move his hips, set traps, and counter. When I look at Izzy, if you look in those Portan fights, and all that, he goes in kind of in a straight line back a lot of the time, and he rides the fence, and he never looks comfortable riding the fence, and he doesn't move his hips side to side so much without ducking and covering his whole face where he can't really see what's coming at him. Unlike Anderson, who sat here and played with you and moved here and there. You need that. You need that. If you look at boxers, a lot of boxers can boom, boom, boom on the rope. Floyd Mayweather was one. It's a lot of people, boom, boom, and they're looking at you. They're moving, looking for a counter. That's how Anderson was. Izzy shells up where you can't see and kind of just goes like this, where it's bad. You could be kneed, you could be kicked, you could be low kicked, which disrupts the base, all this stuff. And the only time he ever really countered off of it was the Poatan fight, which he was losing until he won, the second MMA one. That's one thing. So when I looked at it, I said, Strickland is forward pressure to a guy that moves left, right, really cuts no angles or back. So in my mind, I was like, this is an advantage to Strickland because Strickland is a pressure guy. Slow, methodical, passive aggressiveness. Number one. Izzy completes 50% of the process by putting his own back to the cage. Number two, Strickland is a high volume puncher who will punch light until he punches hard, kind of like my two homeboys, Nick and Nate Diaz, who I have tons of sparring rounds with. Number three, and guess where they start to put the power together with the low volume shots? It's usually when they get the opponent trapped to the cage, which Izzy would take care of 50% of that process by himself. And then he doesn't really counter off the cage, and he covers up and can't see what's coming. Sean Strickland, if you see, got him there and put shots together. He could have made that easier by also going to the body, which he didn't, or low kicking, which disrupts the stance, usually makes the person stumble, put their hands down, which he didn't. But, hey, he still got the job done regardless. Could have been easier, but got it done. Also, Izzy stands square against the cage. First thing you learn in boxing, if you're on the ropes, you got to stay bladed. You can't stand square. It opens up everything in boxing. So imagine when you could be kneed, elbowed, and kicked with it. The other part about it is Sean Strickland has every weapon. He has jiu-jitsu, he has wrestling, he has his striking. You have to worry about that. So you got to always kind of play it a certain way if you don't trust your takedown defense all the way, just in case. So that's a subconscious thing that's going to hold you back somewhat anyhow. Sean Strickland's out of his fucking mind. The intangible. Who have you ever seen the guy afraid to fight? I think the most passive I've ever seen the guy was Jared Cannonier, who Izzy was also passive with. And if you look, Sean Strickland fought Cannonier more than Izzy fought Cannonier in a common opponent. And if you look at the Poatan fight, everybody took that. That's a guy, you even one shot on you the wrong way, you're done. But Strickland wasn't doing bad in that one until it was over. And he wasn't afraid. I'm like, if you aren't afraid of that giant person, you definitely aren't afraid of Izzy, who's more known as a point guy anyways. Many people were talking to me before that fight about like, oh, how Strickland has no power. But I'm like, dude, aren't most of his wins TKOs? So how can you say the guy has no power? That didn't make any sense to me right there. Then when Poatan fought Izzy in the first fight, I was saying he should use his jab. If you go back and watch that fight, Izzy does not move his head correctly. Once again, it's a lack of boxing fundamentals. He does what a lot of tall people do. It's a defensive flaw, which is go like this and lean back. Anderson Silva, if you remember, did the same defensive flaw versus Chris Weidman, who stepped in deep and threw the hook and hit the tip of the jaw. Poatan caught Izzy that way many times. And let's go back to the jab. If somebody is shorter than you but steps in deep with an overhand, or your height or taller and steps in not even deep with anything, you will be hit. When you lean back, your body leans back, you're looking up for a split second, can't see something coming, and your head is in a straight line, which is why Poatan hit him with the jab every time. And in the second fight, I thought he should have used it more. He almost never dodges the jab. And I remember that, and I was like, Strickland, look at it. He jabs, and he sets up basic combinations. Jab, jab right, double jab right. And he doesn't put really much more together than that till he gets you where he wants to get you. And then he starts to put the power together with the high volume. Strickland's jab is faster and better than Poitin's, though Poitin's is harder. And I was like, if Poitin was hitting him with that jab, which wasn't the best jab in the world, it's hard, but not too technically sound. I was like, Strickland's going to definitely hit him. And if you hit somebody with a jab, as you know, statistically, one of the combination to knock out the most people is a 1-2. But very few people have a good 1-2. I was like, if he can touch the person with the left, as they teach you in boxing, once again, you can touch a person with the right. There we are. So I was like, forward pressure. Izzy likes to go back. He's going to put himself in the cage. And then after that, start getting fucked up. It happened. The jab will work. Could put the 2 behind it. I guess that, surmise that, it happened. He's going to be square on the cage. It's going to get him caught up. It can happen. Sean Strickland did have that shitty ass tie front kick, but guess what? That actually works out for him because it's almost like a stump and you can't really catch it and everything the same way as you can a technical tie teep. So it actually works out for him and gives Izzy something else to think about. Surprisingly, none of these guys check kicks, and Strickland did. And it's constant forward pressure. You brawl the boxer, box the brawler. Most technical people can't just fight your ass, and most people that fight can't be technical with you. Strickland is a perfect blend of somebody that has basics, which I teach all my students. I see UFC guys, the elite, getting submitted by basic rear naked chokes, basic triangle chokes all the time. Getting their back taken the basic way all the time. Like, go to a jiu-jitsu school, guys. And it's the flaw of the coaching of being with MMA coaches instead of studying each individual intricacy of each art. And Strickland has the basics of boxing down with the don't give a fuck mentality. It's, what do they call it? The Mike Tyson effect. If you just fight a person, you can do better than you think half the time by being, rather than be intimidated and hold your own skill set back, which I knew he wasn't going to. And then he has a good chin. And if you look, who did he fight? Imanov or Nasruddin or whatever the French guy's name is, the sniper. That guy moves a lot more than Izzy. And to me, in sheer attack, linear attack speed, it's faster than Izzy. And Strickland did very well against him. So he's fought a lot of people. He stayed active in a diversity of people and did well against every style. Every style was intimidated by nobody. Why would he be intimidated by a person that doesn't have that kind of power? Guys, it was as clear. I picked him to win. I picked him to win. To me, Izzy was in an uphill battle with that guy. You know what I mean? A guy with stamina, durability, basic boxing. If you look, when Izzy does decide to counter off the cage, it's the looping right. Strickland has a modified shoulder roll. Let me be clear. First motherfucker shoulder rolling in MMA or Muay Thai, me, followed by Bobby King Green, followed by Sean Strickland. The shoulder roll is great for countering what? The fucking right hand. And if you look, he shoulder rolled it off about 2 or 3 times in that fight. I don't know what anybody else seen. A lot of these analysts are fanboys as well. Instead of like, oh, he's from my team. Oh, I know that guy. I train with that guy. He's the popular one. Can't be that. You got to look at it with clear eyes. I know most people ain't got the Sharingan like I fucking got, but you got to look at it with clear, honest eyes. And to me, Izzy was the underdog. Only thing I wish is that I would have fucking bet more for my parlay, especially, and maybe made a single bet for that fight, though it was included in my parlay. So that's why I picked him to win when I analyzed those reasons. That's why I wasn't surprised when he won. Everybody is saying, I've seen Eugene Behrman saying, oh, we've already analyzed him and we could beat him tomorrow. That's the kind of shit I don't like in coaches. I don't know what it is about MMA. Need to get more like boxing in a lot of ways. Focus on the athlete. Everything shifts around the athlete. In a training camp, you have to be honest with the athlete. You have to know when to throw in the towel. A lot of these guys, I ain't saying Behrman's that way. He's been with the guy before he had money, but a lot of these guys, they just tell people what they want to fucking hear. I think Behrman do it because they're friends, which is bad. Some people do it just because they want to keep the money. Like Anthony Smith's guy should have thrown in the tower versus Glover. And he's like, if they did, I would have fired him. Hey, the kind of coach I am, fire my ass. You know what I mean? Good luck to you. I'm going to do the right thing. But, no. When somebody beats him that soundly without any trouble, you cannot have the formula right after the fight. It's impossible. It's impossible. He lost too soundly. You need to really go reanalyze that fight and change things up, because Izzy has his style and Strickland has his style, and Strickland's style is bad for Izzy. And Dana White was like, I feel like Izzy was moving in slow motion. Guess what, Dana? Let me tell you something right there too, because you're giving everybody a job except for me. All the motherfucking times I didn't motherfucking beat the UFC guys and was promised a shot and didn't get in. And changing the time is now for your ass and making it viral. But anyways, let me help Dana out again. If you are fighting on the back foot, you are using 2 to 3 times the energy of somebody fighting on the front foot. Very few fighters can fight on the back foot. Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Robinson are fucking exceptions of a million. Very few people can fight on the back foot. No, most people are not comfortable on the back foot or trained to fight on the back foot, which is why Izzy would go against the cage and shell up. That's why he looked in slow motion. You can't get motion going backwards. Like, no, Strickland did it. They could try to discredit him any way they want and say Izzy fucked up or something. It was all due to Strickland. But that's why I picked. That's why I'm Greg Blackson. That's why I'm Dom Rogan. Holla at me. Let me know what other fights you want me to break down. Let me know any MMA questions you got, any thoughts, any opinions. Write it in the comments. Let me know what's up. But that's the MMA blueprint at Fallen Angel 510. Enter the Gooniverse on YouTube. Enter the Gooniverse or at Fallen Angel 510 on TikTok. Goon Squad MMA on Instagram. And I'm out.